Okay, so today I am going to be playing the Surface Complex. The Surface Complex is the third mapping challenge in the Mesa Cup, which is a series of mapping challenges run on runthinkshootlive.com for Black Mesa Source. You know, the Steam version. So obviously, the aim of this challenge was to create a map based on the surface. As we know, a lot of the Half-Life and Black Mesa Source environments are kind of indoors, kind of in corridors. So we wanted the mappers to branch out. So there can be indoor areas, but the main theme and the main environment of these maps are set outdoors. I am a judge for this challenge, so I've played these maps before, and I'll probably play them again after, but the purpose of this video is to kind of give feedback to the mappers, and also help anyone else who wants to get an idea on gameplay for games like Half-Life 2, Half-Life, Black Mesa Source, and just kind of outline some of the good things and the bad things about these maps. So the first map we're going to play is called Disarray.
I trust there's a reason for all this dilly-dallying.
Shut your trap, woman.
Excuse me.
Careful. Yes. Checkmate. Uh-oh.
Warning. Satellite communications deactivated.
Oh, crap.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Shut up. Gordon, you don't mind taking a look, do you?
So through that little set sequence, basically what's happened is the map premise has been set up, and that's it basically. So using lines that are already in the game, because obviously getting custom audio into Black Mesa Source is almost impossible, you know, to an extent. Obviously the mapper here has just used lines and put them together and made it sound like they're having a conversation. It's a really smart thing to do. And it does get to the point in some games where you kind of recognise the audio, but even for setting up a premise for like a small map like this, it's perfect basically. So it's good that instead of, you know, I don't know, using something like the, you know, game text on screen or something like that, they've actually taken the time to set up a conversation and made it just feel the world, make the world feel more alive, and you know, and it's very obvious what you have to do. You know, the satellite signal's down and you've got to go over to the satellite dish and sort it out.
My God, it's hell out there. If you intend to go on, then I beg of you, proceed with extreme caution.
So here it's kind of setting up the combat. You know, what are you going to expect outside this door, or maybe it's a few doors, I can't remember, but instead of giving us this information way back there, obviously we got the crowbar through, you know, walking through these, I don't know what that area was, but we're now getting a new bit of information, so we're not getting overloaded. I think that's the purpose of that guy, of this guy down here. Yeah, so you've kind of, we're getting signals that things aren't so good. Obviously, it'd be silly if there wasn't very much combat in a Black Mesa Source map. I also just want to take the time to admire this environment, which I don't tend to do very often. Another signal that, you know, something's going on, and immediately you can see the dish. It's not actually as clear as I think it should have been when we come out. I think as soon as you come out the door, if it had been right in front of you, that would have been a bit more, it would have been more effective, I think. But obviously, because, you know, mapping's not that easy, you can't just stick that, because there's actually mapping, you know, part of the map and stuff over there. So it wouldn't be as easy as just, you know, copying everything and moving it over. I'm not very good at combat, as if you've seen my stuff before you'll know, but that's not the point. The point is, you know, the maps are fun and all that. So there's a good bit of world building. In fact, there's probably more world building in this map than any other map I've seen in the Mesa Cup, I think, so far. Now the purpose of these vertigons, again, I think the purpose is to kind of show you there is danger. There's danger over here, basically. Yeah. So you can't see the tank at the moment, although he is firing, and I think he'll continue to fire at us probably forever. It would be unfair if we had walked into the kind of that field, that area, because that's kind of the more natural way to go. But we got cut off by the vertigons, and they kind of took the bullet for us to show us that there's danger there. We know that there's a tank round the corner. Now we have to find a way around. So as the player, you kind of test, you can kind of trial and error it. Oh, we can't go there, but we see straight ahead of us there is an area we can go and hide. And what this area is doing is it's going to lead us all the way around these things. Also throwing in some minor danger just to kind of shape things up. Of course, I'd forgotten about these guys because I was so focused on this. Even like this time, the second time I'm playing, it's very effective. And you can kind of, I don't know if, yeah, well, that guy can certainly get you. So there is still danger. It's not like a complete wall where we can go around and be completely safe. Alright, yeah. I think possibly that guy getting up sooner and walking towards this thing getting blown up it'd be better sooner. I think it's the teaching mechanic for trying to show the player, maybe if they hadn't played before or something, that these blue beams are, you know, trip mines. I think. Again, I can't be certain, but it's always good to kind of include like the teaching stuff. Anyway, this bit, you kind of, you're right up at the tank, and these barrels are very clearly blocking your way. I didn't expect that to happen, because last time it didn't happen. But I guess last time I was kind of crouching. And obviously the way to take him down is to explode the barrels. Now, I'm not sure you're supposed to take it from that angle. Obviously I'll go back and try it from different angles later, but maybe if you're supposed to take it from around this angle, maybe try and get the shot in. Or maybe it's a case that you can take it from both angles and it's kind of risk-reward. Because you're more safe from this angle, believe it or not, even though I died that one time. Because as I said, the first time I just walked up and hit them with a crowbar and got taken down so much. Anyway, so that's kind of, I guess it's good that there's multiple ways of taking this. Another good thing about this map is the amount of extra places. If you've seen my videos before, you know how much I just admire all of these kind of places where you can hide goodies and stuff like that. Just because it makes the world feel more alive, it forces interaction, so it's not a linear corridor, because there's nothing worse than linear corridor maps when you know you're following a set path. In this map, it feels like, you know, oh, you're making ground your own way rather than making ground that the mapper has predetermined, basically, if that makes sense. Now I'm going to try and take these guys out. I really don't like the grenades in Black Mesa Source. I should probably... yeah, I should probably learn how to do them properly though. And I think there's, yeah, still one more. We can easily take him down. So again, it's a very open environment, but there's so many places I could have gone. Obviously, I chose that area, so it's not like I was confined to that area. I could have tried to take the fight more close up, so it gave me choice how to play that battle, and that's what you want to be doing with your combat scenarios, is you want to be giving the player a lot of options on how to take the battle, so they have to strategize. And even if it's a subconscious strategical thinking, so you know, you come in here and maybe they just run over here and they feel they're getting, you know, they're not doing too well, they can easily back down. It's not like, I'm not saying the player should come here and then have like 5 minutes to say, how am I going to take this? Oh, I'll go and stand there and then I'll take a grenade, and you know, it's just kind of strategical thinking on the fly, if you know what I mean. I don't know if I'm making any sense, to be honest. Okay, so yeah. Now we've got an alley kind of situation where you've got a turret at the end of a very long alley and no way of you surviving with a lot of health. So if I ran at that thing, I would basically get on to fight. I don't even think I can get up to it. So this is where we kind of have to plan, and obviously the Vortigaunts were put there, I think. Again, every time I say something was done for a reason, I'm presuming, at least, you know, from experience, but I don't know what the mapper was thinking, but I think it was to show you that there was a turret, so you didn't actually have to take any damage. You know, because you kind of want to be warning the player that there is damage before, so if I do take damage, it's my fault or my inability to play. I can just run across because that's the exit of this area, or I could go around this area here, which is, it's good to kind of include multiple routes around. I think it's really smart, to be honest. So you never actually have to take damage, but you've also, the mappers put these guys in as kind of a semi-threat. They're not really a threat, because let's be honest, how much damage can zombies actually, you know, do? Not that much. But as kind of something to think about rather than just going round. And I think this whole area, I think, is a very, very, very smart bit of level design, and it's something that I'll certainly be taking away from my levels, and it's something to think about when designing levels. Also, another area, just something that might aid us later on. So obviously there's this door which, it's very clear it takes us down these warehouses past the turret gun. Now, we know what these things do because they were taught back there, but then another threat gets added in. And we get that cue, which again I think was put in to warn us as the players that there is danger. Actually, I don't think you can break that thing. And then we've got this kind of bit of combat. So we can choose to do the puzzle first, and when I say the puzzle, I'm referring to the trip mines. I'm going to stop talking while I try and take these guys down with a pistol. I'm getting them, but not very much. I wonder if I could... Nope. Nope, that's not good. That's not good. Okay, no, that works for me. So yeah, we can push the bad guys, the Marines. Or we could have hung back there and continued to try and get them with a pistol or whatever. So there's many ways of playing it. So it's given us two types of threats. Threats that can move and can get you from a distance. That's the Marines, the HECU, and the trip mines, which can't move. They're going to stay exactly where they are. You have to think, or you choose when to deal with them, basically. So it's this battle. It's partially the way the game's been designed, or Half-Life was designed back in, 97, 98, whenever it got made. But also the way that the level designer here has done it is that they've utilised the tools, which I think is really smart. All right, let's move on. I'll just get some stuff. Another thing, I think the amount of ammo in this area wasn't so great, and first time I think I ran out of ammo. But I think we're doing fine actually this time. But I guess I kind of knew where these guys were and whatnot. Okay, so sirens always signify danger, and usually helicopters, choppers. There was one the last time I played. Yeah, there he is. He flies over us. So now we're dealing with these guys over here and this guy. And I think he moves with us. So if we move over here, he will fly over here. So it's very dynamic. It's very smart how it's done. And these guys, again, I could try and shoot them, but I have seen, or the player will see, that these doors are available to open, so you can kind of toss a grenade and run. I didn't get him, but I forced him off the gun at least. And we're in another safe haven. And I think we could probably just jump over here. Yeah, multiple routes around this area. So instead of the mapper saying, this is how I want the player to play this area, they've said, here are some ways that the player can play the area, but it's up to them. And it's as a level designer, it's all about trying to get into that mindset. You don't want to be thinking, how do I want the player to play this? You're wanting to give them the tools for having a fun gameplay experience, but letting them choose kind of the way they want to play. Obviously, there's only so much you can do, but it's still something to keep in mind. And if I was good at combat, what is he firing at? Dude, what? Nah, what's up, Doc? I have no idea. This guy's crazy. I think it's because he's the only guy left. He kind of knows he's done for, so we'll just keep him alive for the moment. Yeah. I'll spare him mercy. This puzzle is fairly simple, although the first time I never quite picked up on the fact that this middle electrical thing actually goes off, giving you time. So I was like running way back there trying to look for a way. I'm not sure how you would do it though. Maybe using more sound cues to kind of show that. And obviously open door. The door is open to show that you can just bolt it across. Yeah. And this guy's still tracking us down. So we're constantly having to adjust our position. I probably shouldn't have taken that guy out. I knew he was there, so that was probably a bit unfair. But anyway, so it's very clear it's drawing us to this area with the not machine gun, RPG rocket launcher. But it only gives us one, I think it only gives us one bit of ammo here. Meaning we're going to have to move. So it kind of gives us one shot. And if we miss that, then yeah, it's not going to be as easy, but then we can find this thing. Notice how he moved. Notice how he's constantly shaping up his position. This is how these kind of boss battles should be done. Okay. And obviously he did that thing where he flies like miles away to crash, which I think is always quite hilarious. These guys attacked very, you know, quickly. It was kind of sudden, and the first time I was like out of ammo, and they seemed to appear from what I thought was nowhere, so they weren't, I don't think they were as effective as I think they were intended. Okay, that's awkward. Darn it. Okay, I'll quit messing about and go in this section. So now we're kind of got this interior area now. I didn't notice this thing, but it's alright because we'll come back to it. But there's a wire here which we'll come back to. And there's, as I said earlier, side rooms to look at, places to go, doors to open, because that's what we all like in our Black Mesa mods. Again, sound cue to let us know that there's danger. Don't really need to say very much about that. And they're not pushing. They're not sprinting up to me. I think they've been set up so that they don't just run straight up, because if they did, that would be a poor combat encounter. If I'd like got up to here, opened the doors, and then they just ran at me, that would be poor. But the fact he actually did very well just hiding behind this pillar was really, really smart. I think I missed this room the first time. It's just another side room, but it's again really good to include. Notice he didn't attack immediately. It gave us a chance to take in our surroundings. And I like to think, because that guy was like he's got his red cap. He's like a, you know, the captain or something, that we're kind of at the final room of this dungeon. So it would be if it was like an RPG or something. I don't know, but it's like we're at the final room of this section. And we see the green glow, and we see the rope going down to
Access granted.
this thing, and we can look down, we can see the thing open. Can't take out the windows because that would be cheating. Because now we've got actually a very smart combat encounter. So we hear the voice, we look out the door, but we cannot see anything, which actually, first time, made me feel somewhat uneasy. Now that time they seemed to push, but the first time they didn't. The first time they just remained there, so I was like creeping toward, looked around the corner, there was three of them, and obviously there's plenty of room to maneuver. I didn't actually go over this room because I don't think there's anything decent in here. I think, at least nothing integral to the mission. It's just kind of making the world feel more alive. There's stuff to find, whatnot. But yeah, like it kind of, you expect to open the doors and see the soldiers, but the fact you open them and you can't, just adds that extra element of, oh, we need to find out where they are. Again, it's doing the same thing. Although first time there was a guy standing there, I don't know if there, yeah, there was that guy, but he just happened to be there immediately, so I don't know if it was broken or whatever. But it's reusing the environments that we've already done once we've achieved our goal, which is fine. These guys aren't very good at throwing grenades either. And they're all trying to shape up their position and whatnot. And we go in here. I think that's the button. Although, having an actual button there, or a lever or something would be a bit more user-friendly.
Oh, Gordon, finally! Good show!
And at the end, his voice could be like put through one of the speaker settings. It would be cool to have that. So that map is probably one of the best, if not the best, Black Mesa source map I've ever played. Just because of, you know, the sheer thought that it's been put into it and the sheer fun I had the first time I played. I rarely get a feeling of kind of joy and happiness when playing Black Mesa source content. I do sometimes, but that time was that map was authentic. It was true authenticity of Black Mesa source. It had decent combat. The visuals were good. Just the way the setup, the layout was really well thought through, really well executed. There's not much else I can say. So it's definitely worth playing this challenge for that map. Okay, we're now going to be playing the second map. It's called A Stroll in the Park. All right.
We need to get to the surface. We can't afford to waste time. There's no telling what kind of danger is. And for God's sake, keep that suit on until you're in the clear.
Again, using a speaker setting on that would actually work a lot better. I can't remember how it's done. If it's in ambient generic, if there's a speaker setting, but it makes it sound like they're on the radio. Anyway, a good bit of environmental storytelling with all of these glass bottles just lying about. This guy looks like he's had a bit too much. That door's locked at the moment. We'll keep that in mind, and I don't think you can actually see out the windows. I don't think. Maybe you can. I don't know, there's something stopping you, which is a bit weird. Anyway, so you see that there's a vent, and I don't think you can break this vent with anything but the crowbar. Yeah. But the crowbar's not that easy to spot. At least, in theory, it's not like in the view of the player. So actually, I was like looking about for it everywhere, and then I looked on the table. It's not difficult to spot. I do want to add that as well. But yeah, it's kind of, it would be better if it was up here, like in the vent or something. Like, well, not in the vent, like attached to the vent as if someone had already been trying to break it, so you could just pick it up and the vent would break. That would be a good teaching mechanic. It's often done with wooden boards, and I think I've probably done it before with wooden boards. So there we kind of got a glimpse of the boss, basically. It's good foreshadowing. Just kind of to see him, you're like it's trying to build up, I guess, some tension. So that's good. I mean, the lighting in this area, the flashing light's not effective for anything. And it's yellow, but that's, you know, that's beside the point. It'd be better if there was no flashing light, so you could focus mainly on the gargantua, or whatever you call the thing. Also, this guy's just standing in the middle of the corridor. I get that it's trying to teach, you know, you can hit the guy with the crowbar, but it's not as effective as it could be. And then, for some reason, this door can open and we can go back in here. Again, introducing these guys in a interesting manner would be good. So say if you I don't know, I'll think of some examples. Say you walk over here, there's like a big crate. You walk up to it to break it or something, and then it breaks by itself because this guy is like standing behind it. That would be a good way of introducing, so it kind of gives you a little shock or something like that, instead of just having these guys in, you know, in the corridor. Like have that break and have a zombie behind it. We now come to a surface area, which is quite interesting. And then we get assaulted. And there's stuff to find in these crates, which I actually really like. And the interesting thing is, I think it actually uses a ladder brush here, which is something I used to do, because that's what happens in, like, CSGO. I'm not sure how better or worse it is, or if it's no different. It just, again, took me by surprise there. I mean, the combat's not challenging at the moment. It's kind of just breaking you in. But, yeah. I kind of like the fact you could go on either side of these. You could, you know, it adds verticality, basically. So we see the way to go. We know we can go there because we can see the ammo and stuff like that. We also see this rope and the button, and then we drop down to deal with it. There's barnacles here to make us think, you know, instead of just running over to the button, we've got to think about it. And then we can see the door opening, but then it's kind of like, well, how do you get back up here? You can't. You've actually got to go all the way down, back round again. Which, to be honest, I think it's a big kind of a waste of time, because it feels like we're right here. It's not an effective loop. I mean, I do appreciate that, you know, the loop was put in place as a gameplay mechanic to kind of lengthen the mod and add a bit more challenge, but it's not a very effective way of doing the loop when the button is right next to the door, but you've got to go all the way back round. You know, you're right there and the door's right here, but you've got to go all the way around it. It just doesn't seem like an effective loop. But there have been effective examples of loops in Black Mesa source maps. We've kind of got this really open area. It's good to include open and closed areas. I don't know where this guy comes from, but he just... Now these guys seem to be like... Well, the first time I played it was almost impossible to take out. That was like first time. So now we've got a kind of a different challenge. We've got, you know, the big guy, the grunt. And we saw him there. There's also kind of like a side area here, which is good. It kind of doesn't give you anything except, you know, another combat encounter with a zombie, or a partial zombie. This seems to be doing very well, and then you get rewarded at the end of it with stuff and whatnot. That's good. But I do feel this area is difficult to kind of orientate yourself. At least the first time I played it seemed almost overwhelming, the amount of corridors. So actually simplifying this back area would actually be effective. Now, one good thing is we can go and we can try and take this guy on over there, but it also gives us the option to just bolt past him this way, which I think is amazing. I think that was intended. I think... Oh, I did that completely bad. Of course that was going to happen when I recorded. First time I did that perfectly. Honest. And this guy also never followed. I guess there's no point going this way, but there was a trip mine over here, so you did have to kind of cross over here to jump over here to kind of get over, which was good. Now, I'll just break these boxes because they do usually have good stuff in them. And you've got to break it to kind of progress, so it's forcing interaction with the map. Also, this flashing light isn't effective. It doesn't really add anything. It's kind of just annoying and sore in the eyes. I do think like the flashing lights are good when used sparingly, but in a big area like this, it's such a wide, you know, light. It's kind of very distracting and annoying and sore. I'm just saying, you know, it's not like it's terrible. Okay. I am having a bit of lag, but yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, so we'll continue to push over this area. Actually, I think we're going to go around. And we saw that guy's... He ran kind of to the right. Also, I think when we came out, we could see the Gargantua crossing here. I think I forgot to mention that, if it happened. So it's, again, it's still building up the kind of tension. So it's kind of given us two places to worry about when coming in, but that's okay. You can hang back here and take this guy down, or these few guys down. Or you can try and push up here. There's a lot of guys here to take down, which, you know, once you've taken a few of them down, it kind of becomes tedious, but I do understand what the area was going for.
Watch out, guys, frag out.
So we'll quickly push through here. And that guy's main purpose was to warn us that, you know, that the turret was here. I talked about this in the last map, and it's just to kind of show the player that there's danger without them having to take damage, basically. Okay, where am I going? It's very dark, this map, so if the video's dark, I am, again, sorry, but I can turn up the brightness slightly. And now we've got a set sequence. And as you see here, it's blocked off this area. It's kind of guiding us round. And then it sets our orientation this way. You know, the player's view is now facing. So it looks like that's the way to go. Even though we can go that way. It's done very well at guiding the player. So they play out the events the way that the mapper wants. You know, just to see the sequence. You know, the scary sequence of G-Man events. Which we'll just watch. Although I don't think anything happens. Except he walks away. But we can see... We're being shown the end goal, basically. We can see Eli Vance, and I think I don't know who else is there, but we can see, you know, there's a battery and a health kit there. We can see we can go that way. Now we just need to go find a way. So to do that, we have to double back on ourselves slightly, and this is why, because we could have come out here, not seen that, and just run this way, but obviously the mapper level designer wanted to see us, make us see that, so... Then we have some combat that is kind of difficult to spot these guys. I guess the purpose of it is to try and just give this area, you know, justify this area's existence. But I don't think there was any need to, because we're going to come up to a battle that could potentially be fairly good. Potentially. And then yeah, we come across we come across this parking lot with a lot of Marines. You know, and we can hide. There's places to go. We can take on the Marines whenever we want, basically. Although, at least the first time I played, and maybe because all the Marines are dead or almost dead. The first time I played, they pushed this area basically. I was hiding here. I was waiting. I was trying to, I think, get this guy up here. Yeah, I know that's not how you fight. Yeah. But I got pushed by about 3 guys, so it was kind of not effective, but it's good if these guys remain back a bit. Now, they seem to be really hanging back this time, which is interesting. So I'm just going to go ahead and... yeah, I'm just going to hunt these guys down. Was there one more guy? Probably. He's probably still hiding. And then, you know, this light's kind of drawing you in the direction of this. Again, having a guy just facing you as you walk in, it's just not very inspired. But it puts trip mines here to kind of make the player have to think. For some reason the door locks, and you know, I did this a few times in some of my maps, and from experience people don't like it, and I can see why. It's kind of doesn't make sense. You should be able to go back, and I don't see very much point in that happening now. You kind of have to find your way around safely. For some reason, I thought that was safe, but I think there might have been... yeah, there's one here. So it's not that safe at all. I should have jumped there, but for some reason... It's when you're on a crate. Trying to jump from a crate's the most... oh dear. Right. There's many ways to deal with this. Oh, you see, you can't even do that. Anyway, there we go. That's how you deal with that area. Also, for some reason, you can break this glass and go out here. And this is what I did the first time, and I was looking around here for quite a wee while. I couldn't see what the point in the area was, or this area was. I thought, well, that's weird. I was trying to get in here, whatnot. But if you go back upstairs, there should be a vent, which wasn't very obvious. I mean, I kind of got drawn to the center of the room. If you're, your vision is usually on one spot, so, at this point, I can see the vent on screen, as you can see over there. But if I'm looking elsewhere on the screen, I'm not going to see it. So I was running past, I thought, oh, the windows can break, so I have to go back out. The vent wasn't obvious enough, or at least finding the vent was difficult because of the fact the windows could break. So either make the windows not break or make the vent more obvious, so there was no confusion. That's, the two things that could be done. So we'll continue on. Okay, so that time, I chose to push these guys. There was a grenade that kind of forced me. I could have gone in here. I could have tried to hide behind here, although these things break easily. But yeah, I think if these guys had hung back, the battle would have been more fulfilling and just a general better experience. But I don't know. Just having these guys push always causes, puts pressure on the player. Now this thing, it shows the ending of the map, or it shows where we were, where the G-Man sequence was. You push the button and you can see the thing rising, and you can, I think it might be flipped, I'm not sure. Turn around and look at this guy. We're going to chase this guy down. We don't really need him. But the combat here is very close quarters. Probably too much for my liking. We'll just get a bit of health. And this is kind of getting health for the upcoming battle. And then point of no return to kind of signify that you have to just go for it. And then it's kind of like run away, run away. So you can climb over that way. I'm not actually sure if you're supposed to, but there is another way to go. And it's kind of a, run for the door. Obviously stuff has been moved to allow the Gargantua to kind of move. But then there's he was beckoning to us to show us the way to go. And then that's the map. So the map in itself wasn't actually bad. It contained a lot of good concepts, good ideas. Obviously there's still a lot of places it needs work, a lot of the gameplay elements and the puzzles need sorted, but there was also all the good stuff. So overall, I think that Ville was very successful. And I think we got we got one really good map and then one, excellent map, top tier up there maps. For all of the reasons I outlined earlier on. So, I do hope that there'll be more Black Mesa Source contests. I think the number of people entering shouldn't really matter. A lot of people were disappointed that there were only 2. But after playing the 2 maps, I don't think that, that was a bad thing. It's better 2 really good maps than 10 not very good maps at all. Again, it all depends on who's entering and how it benefits them as mappers, and hopefully from these maps, the mappers can learn and grow and, make even more stuff and hopefully make a lot bigger and better maps. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, all of those YouTube obligations that I somehow have to say at the end of the video. and hopefully I'll be back with more videos soon.